This video is brought to you by BTI Institute, a New Jersey leader in certification-based management training.
Welcome, everybody, to Wednesday, December 4th. We are virtual at another PMI New Jersey Agile Discussion Group. Today, we have Ritesh Vajaria back with us. We are so grateful to have his expertise and presence. If you haven't met Ritesh or know much about him, he is a distinguished global thought leader in the world of AI. He has been a keynote speaker across 18 countries, some of which the audience members are around 10,000. So the numbers speak in volumes itself. He is the head of Gen AI with strategy at Cerebral Systems, and he's done a lot of great work earlier with AWS, Bloomberg, and other companies as well. Now, AI is everywhere right now, and it's moving quickly. How is this impacting agile teams or program initiatives or projects? This is what we want to hear from in Ritesh, and he's going to hopefully give us some insights. We'll have opportunities to put things in the chat, take some questions. And Ritesh, I can't say enough about you with appreciation, but I'll give you the stage now, and I'll put myself on mute. So over to you, Ritesh.
Thank you very much, Nitin. And yes, it's glad to be here again. I believe I started the year in January, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm closing the year in December. So it's an honor and privilege at the same time to be here. And thanks, Nitin and John, both of you, for having me here. So as Nitin said, we wanted to see how AI is changing the world around us, around the program management, around the project management, around the agile world, how it's changing. And this is more of a future-looking presentation, forward-thinking presentation. Many of the things what I may say here doesn't exist, but it doesn't mean that we will not see that in 2025. And in fact, there are few things exist, and if time permits, I'm going to show you a demo. If things work, if demo God is with us, then we will do a live demo. Otherwise, I have pre-baked, and we'll show you what is the difference of what we will see in 2025 if we have not already seen it in 2024. With that, hopefully you are able to still see my screen and able to hear me well. Yes, Nitin? Yep. Okay, cool. Nitin said enough about me, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on my slide, but quickly for those who are in the room focusing on the project program agile portion, regardless of my day job, I have a night and weekend job along with my family. I recently, about a year ago, started AI Guru Academy as a part of embarking the knowledge to whatever I have learned in the world of AI to everyone else. And Coursera actually approached me a few months ago, and I created one course for Coursera focused on the program management. Feel free to take a look at it if you already have a Coursera, whatever, membership or whatnot. And then there are other programs as well in AI, but this is particularly focused on program management with Gen AI. With that, any meeting as a project manager, as an agile team, and then I just want to confess that I've been a PMP for almost 6 years. I continually racked my PDUs, and then at some point in 2015 or so, it got expired, right? So for last 10 years, I'm not a PMP certified. But that doesn't mean that I have not learned how the meeting should start. The meeting should always start with an agenda. Anyway, so this is what we want to do. We want to start with Back to Future. We'll take some reference of movies. We'll talk about what is the current state of AI, and particularly why you all should care, me included, what the future looks like, and then Q&A. We'll wrap up with Q&A. In between, I'll do a demo. Depends on how the timing works out. But when we are looking at future, and some of you may recall this picture or this image, But as we all, as a project manager, as a program manager, as agile people, we always joke about that we need an extra clone of ourselves. But what if you get a clone in this age of AI, and it's not thinking of like a clone of Nitin, it's a digital clone of yourself, which is doing the work according to what you are asking that clone to do, right? So here, the clone is not replacing you. Think of that movie, again, a reference of movie of Iron Man and Jarvis, where you are the Iron Man and the Jarvis is kind of helping you, guiding you, and working towards whatever you are asking it to do, but maybe in a smarter way. So when we are thinking that Iron Man and Jarvis philosophy overall, imagine that you have an agent, right? And an agent is just one term I'm using here, but that is dedicated to do a risk analysis. The agent is doing some sort of a focus work on its own. That agent is doing the resource utilization work on its own and coming back and giving you the information. Or it's doing some sort of a status tracking and stakeholder communication and then coming back and showing you that this is what I've done. Do you want to make changes or whatnot? So kind of they work alongside you. And for every project, they spot the risk before even you go into that meeting, right? And then they will give you the insight before you jump into the stakeholder room. But it's not about just AI as it's not AI versus PM or AI versus product manager or AI versus project manager. It's with AI, you are enhancing yourself daily, weekly, monthly. And as a part of that, you always have an oversight where you are able to enforce that this is how it should work. And you made the mistake here. And then based on that, you are going to change it. And then that agent is self-learning. That AI, in a way, is a self-learning and allowing us as a human to take control of how we want to do an entire narration of the story. So there are few foundation has already been built. We all have seen what ChatGPT can do, what Claude can do, and then some of you who are using some of the other tools may have seen some of the capabilities. But what is something coming out in the near past future is around agents, which is a specialized digital, which is helping us to make project management function more better and whatnot. So with that preface, let me start of current state where we are. Some of you may have heard about strawberry. If you have not heard, that's okay. I'm sure all of you are aware of ChatGPT. And a few weeks ago, ChatGPT launched their version called GPT-o1. I mean, if you go to ChatGPT today, you will see GPT-4o as a by default, but o1 is sort of in a preview mode. And what o1 is the code name Strawberry internally from OpenAI point of view. But if you remember that book from Daniel Kahneman about thinking fast and slow, what we see GPT-4o is all about thinking fast. It's our uh, brain which is working in a subconscious brain is working versus on the other side, our other brain which is thinking slow overnight thinking. That is where the strawberry is. Strawberry is all about reasoning. What do I mean by reasoning? When you ask a question to ChatGPT, boom, 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 in 5 seconds you have an answer. But what if you ask it to think and give me an answer? It will take its own time. Maybe instead of 3 seconds, it will do it in 10 seconds or 20 seconds. So it's using not the conscious brain, but the subconscious brain. And it's thinking slower. And when the AI thinks slow, it's able to do a job better. If you have access to o1 maybe tonight, go and ask the same question to GPT-4o versus GPT-o1, and you will see a day and night difference. It's similar to how we think as a human. Then something came along from another company. OpenAI is one, that is Anthropic, who is neck-to-neck competition with OpenAI. Some of you may have heard called Claude. And Anthropic actually launched as a preview mechanism. They call it computer use. What does it mean? Some of the initial impressions are amazing. What does it mean is that computer use is a software they have built, or agentic software in a way. That software will do the work on our behalf. So let's say we just went through the Black Friday season, right? So everyone's mind, Amazon.com is on there. You ask that agent to go and buy something for you, maybe this microphone, what I'm using. Say, okay, go and buy this microphone on my behalf. It will open up the browser for you. It will go to Amazon.com. It will, assuming you are giving the credential, it will log in on your behalf. It will search for that product. It will add to the cart. It will buy that product, confirm that this is the shipping address, and then the transaction is complete. Now, it's done in front of you while you are sitting here. It's moving the mouse, it's clicking the buttons, it's typing on behalf of you, sort of whatever we as a human doing with computer, this sort of AI is doing it. I mean, it's still in the preview phase, but it's not far-fetched that in next 3 to 6 months, we will see many of the software coming up with solving some of these use cases. In the past world, it used to call RPA. Now this is an RPA on steroid. But at the same time, those two companies, OpenAI and Anthropic, are marching ahead. Most of their work is closed source, so it's not open source in the technology area. But there is a company, I'm sure you know this company, Meta, which now it's Meta. It's used to be Facebook, right? But they've been marching ahead in the open source area, and then they've been creating models, open source models, which are competing neck to neck with these two companies, OpenAI and Anthropic, and that is still alive. And thankfully, that is allowing many companies who wants to have their own AI instead of relying on OpenAI or Anthropic to consume it, they can do using this open source. At the same time, there has been a recent development. It's hardly 2 months, a little less than 2 months, but a fastest AI inference in the world. And then what do I mean by fastest? When you type in ChatGPT, you see an answer coming up in 3 seconds for that 100 words. What if in that 1 second you get 2000 words? Think of those who are old enough to remember the dial-up internet, where we used to do phone line and then do the internet connection and then whatnot. Now we have Fios. So technically, Netflix used to ship the DVD to our home, so that because we cannot do real time. Now we binging Netflix, right? On a weekend or even in the nights. Now that is because of the internet speed. Now, right now, whatever the AI speed, what you see in the chatbot or anywhere else is only limited to that 100 words per second or so forth. That speed barrier is broken by 2000 words per second, 2000 tokens per second in the scientific language, what I call. And that's been broken by a company called Cerebra System. And I'm proud to be representing that company because I work for that company for last 9 months or so. And I'm fortunate to have this thing with me. What I'm showing you is the biggest chip on the earth. It's not a medal. It's the chip. It's the dinner plate size chip. Okay. Hopefully the blurriness is going away. All right. That chip is allowing us as a humanity to do the fastest inference on the earth. And hopefully in near future, we will see a Netflix way of doing AI. Instead of shipping the DVD, we are binging Netflix. Same way, the AI is going to get much faster than what we have seen in the recent weeks to recent months. So that's on the current state of AI overall. But should you care? Should we care? I mean, I mentioned here a few platforms like the ClickUp or the Monday.com or the Copilot or the Trello and Asanas of the world. There are many project management tools out there, and there are data out there that senior leaders believe that AI will play a critical role in next 5 years, or 21% claim that we use or often use AI when we are managing project. I think 21% is a low number. It should be way higher, somewhere around 40 to 50%. But again, I would not know. This is a survey done by certain people. At the same time, typical cost is going down overall. So as the cost is going down, the adoption would go higher. But some of the other non-technical project like construction or engineering, they don't see that adopting AI at a higher rate. Maybe that should change. I believe that will change in coming weeks to coming month. But why we should care, right? Because the future is changing. And you may say, okay, Ritesh, but tell me about the future. So before we jump into future, here is the thing. This is our current state, right? If we look at the project management, and I had to recall my PMBOK guide, that what all things would happen when we are looking at project management. Yes, project initiation, planning, you have a financial, you have integration, the communication, the quality, the execution, this oversight, and the project close. And I'm sure there are a few things I'm missing here, maybe the change management or whatnot. But overall, this is the current state when we are looking at project management overall. That is about to change, and the future is agentic. And when I say agentic, again, I want to start with what is agent, right? When we are looking at agent, it's going to change completely how we see this from project management point of view to something like this, where we have multiple branches within that main branch. Maybe that project initiation would have even its own 6 or 7 different branches as a part of that functionality, because there are multiple agents working to do what project initiation supposed to be done. So the question, if those who are not familiar with agent, is, but what is an agent, right? So when we are looking at agent as a definition, is more of a software system at the end of the day that perceives the environment. And when we say perceives the environment, it's look at what exists within that ecosystem, and it takes an autonomous action. So it's not like we are as a user asking it to do something. It's looking at the information, what is coming through, whatever the flow it is going through. Based on that, it's taking an action which is predefined. Certain actions are predefined, certain actions are sort of automated. And based on that combination of it, it's taking and achieving a goal, what we ask it to do. And there are a few key components. When we say the perception model, it's a kind of a sensor. It's sensing, okay, this thing exists here, this thing exists here, this thing exists here. So it has the view of the broader world, or whoever is building that agent is creating that view on their behalf. Then there is a decision-making process that, okay, should I use the information coming from, let's say, Forbes, or should I use the information coming from Time, right? Depends on which website has a higher ranking. So it's going to make certain decisions based on that. And then it's creating a knowledge base that, okay, I see the article in the Forbes, I see the article in the Times as well. Now, which one has more information? And I'm going to store that knowledge in my memory. And based on that, I'm going to take some action. Now, when we look at the example or the demo, I'll show you exactly how this goes in a step-by-step process. But this is, in a way, it looks like from a definition point of view or the overall flow point of view. But then you may ask that, hey, Ritesh, but we are not technical folks. We are more on the project management, agile side of the world. Tell us in our language. So you all have to do a project initiation and planning. Now imagine that you have an AI agent which is doing a project charter, which I'm assuming that you all need to create some sort of a project charter when the project planning is being done. And this AI agent is creating that charter for you. But to create it, it's not only using or asking ChatGPT to create a project charter, which is, you can do it, and you should be doing it today if you are not already doing it. That is a basic requirement if you ask me. But this is not about just using ChatGPT or Claude, but it's about using your existing historical projects. So analyzing those historical data, take your organizational data, because your organization, wherever you are working, that has tons of information about existing project, existing information. Take that input inside it. Look at what's in the market, right? If you are building a project about, let's say you want to build a next generation MacBook, and to do that, maybe you want to look at what Microsoft is doing in terms of their PC. Again, there is no PC versus Mac game, but at least from a technology point of view, you may want to look at what your competition is doing, what the market is heading into. And if you are the innovator of the innovator, that's a completely different story. But when you are looking at a competition, you want to have some sort of a market trend. Based on that, you analyze that, you come up through that. Then this agent is going to help you create that project charter. Now that's on the project charter generator. But what about your requirements? Maybe there is another agent which is generating a requirement based on certain information. Of course, it's based on the historical data, based on the stakeholder interviews, based on the existing documents, based on the feedback from the project sponsors and whatnot. And then it's generating those requirements for you. You can ask ChatGPT to do that, but it would not be exactly what you need. You need to have that additional information baked in. You need to have that process done. And that's where the agent comes in picture to help you guide it further. What about planning, PI planning, right? There is again, I'm just giving an example of planning assistant as a one way of thinking, but it creates your initial plan. It creates your work breakdown structure, creates the timeline based on past data, based on historical information, based on, okay, we did the planning, and then in the first epic, it took us maybe 6 weeks instead of the planned 4 weeks. We may need to revise that, okay, negotiate from 4 to 6 weeks, or maybe negotiate and come down to the 5 week. So this agent is sort of going to help you as you are going further into the planning phase. Another one, risk. There are risk known, there are unknown risk, there are industry risks. So based on, again, absorbing the information, and I might sound like a tape which is repeating itself, but risk predictor is going to do a similar function where it's taking the past information, taking the industry information, current project information, and then identify those risks for you. And of course, you are going to not take the word from agent, you are going to use that as an information coming in an educated way, and then you are going to apply that into your project. But as a part of this whole process, what happens is everything is working in a harmony, right? The entire planning process, where this 4 agent, what we talked about, or all 4 agents are working in tandem, and then giving you that entire packet that, okay, this is how your project initiation and planning should look like. Now, the same can be done for the other functionality, right? Your execution phase. Maybe for execution phase, you need to have done some resource utilization done, or maybe you need to continue tracking your status as people are taking vacations, or people are taking leaves or whatnot. Like somebody, and then I won't name him, but that person, when I was talking to him maybe 4-6 weeks ago about the future of program management or project management, he said that when somebody is taking a sick leave, yes, the sick leave get added into the HR database, but because of the sick leave, what happens to the existing project? Who is taking that slack? Or it is going to get deferred further because the plan is already built for 2 weeks sprint. And if person is out for a day or two, how that is going to impact the overall whatever is planned from a sprint activity point of view. There are no provisions in the tools of people taking vacations or people taking unplanned leave. So how are we going to do that? That's where the agent comes in handy. It is maybe somebody is going to build that agent, that I'm going to watch for somebody making a sick leave or a vacation plan unplanned. Planned vacation, certainly we can plan before the sprint planning. But for unplanned, you cannot do that. And then the agent is taking over and going to say, okay, now because 2 people are taking sick leave out of the team of 7, we are going to not able to do this much amount of work. We only be able to do this much amount of planned work. Now, if you have that information available beforehand, not at the end of the sprint, but the day or the 2 days after when somebody is taking those unplanned leave, and if you communicate to your stakeholders saying that, hey, John, we won't be able to deliver what we planned by end of the sprint because we have 2 people going on a sick leave, but I have a data, I have information what we can do because we calculated based on the agent, AI agent is doing that calculation on our behalf. Cool. All right. So that's on the execution side. Similarly, on the communication and collaboration, we had an agent actually sitting in this room, right? Which is taking a note, meeting assistant agent. Zoom has created something, and then there are other systems which is allowing us to take the recording, what we all are speaking and taking a notes. But it's not just about taking the notes. It's also kind of a summarizing the notes. It's also creating some sort of a stakeholder communication. So some of this functionality we do see today in intent in some bits and pieces, but not in a cohesive manner. And I expect that to be in a cohesive manner as a part of this overall communication and collaboration. But at the end of the day, I mean, again, I listed down only 10 items, what things would be in a place when things are working in harmony. But there are many more areas where it has to be covered, it has to be built, it has to be developed, and it has to be executed to support what we all want to do. So the question you may have, Ritesh, yeah, so what, right? I mean, we've been using AI for last 2 years. I mean, we just had a second anniversary of ChatGPT, right? 30th December, sorry, 30th November. But yeah, I mean, nothing wrong. ChatGPT is great. There are systems which are kind of automating many of the things. That's fine. But there is so much manual resource allocation going on, whether it's about in the project execution, the communication, and then whatnot. And then this is just some of the data points of what happens before versus what happens after. And then some of the data, again, it's not my number. The time saves are anywhere between 15 to 20 hours per week per PM if things are automated in a shape or in an ideal state where we do see this kind of data driven changes. We see that complete visibility as a PM, and it's not that far from what I'm seeing from my side as well. But overall, when we are looking at the data, the admin task reduction could be 40 to 50% gain is really we have started seeing at certain extent. From a resource utilization point of view, where the goal is about 30 to 40% improvement, and meeting cost would go down by 25 to 35%, as well as there is a 70% faster risk identification. Again, it doesn't mean that we will be able to nullify the risk, but at least knowing the risk is important before we even get to the nullification. So if we get to that risk identification faster, like the example of we are going to miss the sprint, whatever we have planned. Why? Because 2 people are on sick leave. But what is we gonna miss if we can identify that? If we can do that risk identification faster, that is going to help a lot to those project sponsor, because they may say, okay, forget about this thing. Let's bring this another thing up because t-shirt size doesn't match, and we need to do, instead of medium, we need to do a small. Okay, so these are the data. Again, it's not my data. It's coming from all the reputation, what you can think of, the Gartner, the PMI. There is one PMI data as well, the Microsoft and the IBM of the world, about how this is impacting overall from a project community point of view. So with that, we have a time for a demo. And this is what I wanted to, again, it's not exactly a project management demo because it requires coding, and then I had little time to do the coding. So I've been building this thing for a few weeks, and I thought, okay, let me show you what exactly this is for. And that's the reason I'm going to do sort of a demo as kind of a, not a PM demo, project management demo, agile demo, but it's more of a job description demo. What does it mean? Everyone is hiring, right? Or somebody is hiring. And to hire, you need to have a job description. And quite likely, with the advancement of AI, we simply ask as a hiring manager, hey, Claude, or hey, ChatGPT, I'm hiring a software engineer, or I'm hiring a program manager, create a job description for me. And we get it. We receive the job description in a very descriptive manner, quite often, to be honest. But it's not sufficient. It's not polished. So what I'm going to demo, and then maybe we will do behind the scene, under the hood as well. But what I'm doing is, I'm doing first, I have a research agent. What research agent is doing, based on whatever the job I'm asking it to create, the description, what I'm asking to create, it will do a research on the internet. Because quite likely all the AI, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude, doesn't matter. It is only trained up to a certain date. Like ChatGPT has a date trained up to mid 2024. Claude has June of 2024, something along the line. So anything happened after June to this is December, they don't have that knowledge. So we need to do a research. Let's say I'm a new hiring manager and I don't know how to write a job description for a current trend on a program manager because I haven't hired a program manager in a long time. And for an industry, technical program manager might be completely different than the program manager on the construction side or any other industry side. So as a part of the research agent, I'm doing the research on the internet that what kind of jobs are being created or job descriptions are being created on that particular domain, on that particular profile, on that particular role. Then I have another agent. It's writing the job description for me, right? Now, it's taking all the input, whatever research agent is collating, applying that, and similar to what you might see in a news editing facilities where a reporter writes something and editor edits it. So the writer agent is writing it, and editor is actually editing all the copy, whatever has been come up, and final copy is being delivered as a polished copy. So sort of it is going through three iteration if we think from an overall process point of view. And by doing this three iteration, the final fourth version or the fourth iteration, what we see should be a better version than what typically we get from, let's say, a chat GPT, right? So what we would be doing is, let me do that right away. Yeah, so I have one backup here, but I'm not going to use the backup. I have this, and it's open for all, jd.aiguru.pro. If you want to do it your own way, it's going to cost me a penny or two per request, so don't worry about that. There is certain limits in terms of daily. So if you hit a limit, you might have a problem. But let's say I want to hire a technical program manager, right? And I work for Cerebras, so I'll just say Cerebras system. And I'm not going to say what we do. I mean, if you want to use the company description, you can do that completely. And as you can see, I'm typing, so it's real time. Hopefully things would work. Company domain, artificial intelligence, hiring need, technical program manager, benefit, medical, dental, 401k. All right. So, and I'm asking, and again, it's a demo. So you see here things are running and then whatnot just for your own leisure. Let me see if I can get you to under the hood. And what do I mean by under the hood? And it's progressing. Okay, I'm on this one of the Linux server. Those who are not familiar with this terminal window, that's fine. And I was hoping to see some output, but it is not giving me any output. This is not the one. This is the one. Okay, maybe under the hood is not working for me yet. Maybe once it is coming up, once it will come up, I'll show you what exactly is happening behind the scene. But what is happening right now here is if we go back to our here, so the research is being invoked. So it's going and doing, call it Google search. And once it completes the Google search, it's writing that information. Okay, things are coming up now. So I'm going to bring it back. Right. So, all right. There are so many green screen. Don't worry about it. It's research analyst. And I have prompted that research analyst that you search the internet. All right. And do that search based on whatever uh, thing I have asked for. And maybe it's since we asked for Cerebras, it's going to do that research. So right now, the research is ongoing. Okay. We'll come back in a second after research is completed. Again, it takes time, right? As you see, if I do the same thing on a chat GPT, let me do that now. Where is my chat GPT? Here we go. Oh, this is on a different screen. Let me bring it here. Write a job description for technical program manager hiring for Cerebras system. And yeah, in 10 seconds, I got the answer, right? I mean, it's generating, and then maybe another 5 more seconds, and we will have the entire thing. It's like, okay, about Cerebras. Cerebras is revolutionizing compute, dari. Position overview, seeking highly motivated technical program manager, key responsibility, the program leadership, the stakeholder management, the risk management, process optimization. This is all good. I mean, if you ask me, probably I can use this as is before I came across that agent, which is going to do a better job than ChatGPT in a way. Let's see if that thing got over or not. Super. Okay, it completed. And what we see here is an output. So what the output is in the markdown format. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make it better for all of us. Create a gist and tpm-2.md markdown. Create a gist. Yeah, that's fine. Secret is fine. Okay, so this is much more readable for us. And let me zoom in a bit. And I'll go back to ChatGPT in a second. But the technical program manager at Cerebras, location Sunnyvale, role description this, responsibilities this, required skills and qualification is this, unique benefits is this. Okay, now if I go back to ChatGPT, I have so much fluff in there from the overall job description point of view. And quite likely, yes, maybe you want to have all of these details about program leadership or stakeholder engagement. Nothing wrong with it. But quite likely, if I'm a person who is seeking for a job, I would look for a concise job description instead of a pages and pages of a job description. So what we see here as a polished output of the job description, again, behind the scene, what it's using, again, it's a software and it's still using ChatGPT. If you ask me, that is what I have, because that's how I have created this entire system, where it's going through the ChatGPT and it's finally coming up. So we saw that earlier was the research. Now we see the job description writer, and then it's writing for a couple of times, and then finally, come on, done. Okay, and we received editor. I want to see the editor. Where are you? Okay, so agent, reviewing and editing specialist. So finally, this guy or this agent or this girl, depends on how they are, is editing and then finally giving us the output what we saw on our tool here. So this is the agent flow, if you ask me, overall from a functionality point of view. Now, this is a very small agent where only 3 things are being created. So let me go back to this guy and let me make it bigger. Yeah. So it's only doing 3 things: the research, the writing, and the editing. And then finally, we got the copy, what we saw as a part of the output, what we saw as a job description. Imagine in your project world, it would be much more complex, right? Even if you just need to do a project planning, to do that planning, it has to go through multiple phases. It has to go through multiple documents. It has to go through multiple information and crunch it all together. And you will get the planning information done similarly. So that is how the future is sort of evolving, if you ask me. So to recap, those who are still not on the AI train, AI is not going away. It's here to stay. This is not a Bitcoin, or this is not a crypto. No way. The goal is to have an AI empowered PM. It's not where we are sort of replacing AI for PM. Agents are the near-term future. And I say near-term because, again, I don't know what 1 year from now would look like. There might be something new between now and probably next time we talk. But it is the near-term future, and that is changing how we think. It is changing how we apply into our organization. Think of it as your small apps, right? I mean, on my iPhone, probably I have about 200 different apps, or maybe 2000 apps. Even I don't know how many apps I have now. Similarly, the agents are going to be a similar small apps, which is independently created for that small functionality. And those apps or those agents are going to infuse and help us to do a job better than what we have been doing up until today. And that will force us, I say, because the tactical work would be all taken care by AI. If it is not already been taken care by AI, some of those tactical works like meeting notes used to be a tactical work. A project manager should always take the meeting notes and circulate to the audience, stakeholders. Now that is being done thanks to the AI, and even in the room, even if you are in an in-person room, there are tools available which is kind of recording it as you are speaking, as the team is talking, and then generating the notes and then sharing it across the the team. So that tactical work has been going away. That means we as a product manager, program manager, agile team are being forced to think strategically. And it's a good thing because we as a human are meant for strategical thinking. We are not meant for mundane tasks. And let's use AI for those mundane tasks. And we will continue our journey as we go further. With that, I think that was my last slide. So I only took 40 minutes out of the entire time allocated. So happy to take all the questions, any questions and whatnot.
Thank you, Ritesh. That was insightful. We also have the chat as an option in case people want to write something there. I don't have a question brewing, but a quick comment in the evolution of things, and this might give away my age. I grew up with, MS-DOS, and I am reminded of batch files. Someone could go in, type a few lines of a command, save that file, and when needed, just run it. With Microsoft's evolution, you had Visual Basic, and we could do scripts, more so for like Excel spreadsheet with large amounts of data. Again, a human being would be typing those things to get a result set, whatever that might be. And then you also mentioned RPA, which is where I've worked with Scrum teams, and they work across the organization, be it accounting needs a quarterly report or HR has a flow of hiring people, and you can define those things going step A to B, and it's just one click of a button. And a human being had already kind of pre-programmed a few things to get an end result faster, whatever it is. And with AI now, it's interesting because we're not offering as many of the steps or the flow. We're asking a question as an example. And then the AI, be it agents or elsewhere, whatever the technology is processing a lot of these things and giving you something. So I'm quite fascinated by the evolution of this and seeing how quickly it is moving ahead and how it could be augmented for things. So again, just my thought process and my thing. So agents are doing a lot.
Yes, no, and 100% of what you said, it is evolution. If we look at from Microsoft DOS, I'm same probably the same old as you, but yes, I have seen the DOS and the batch file, and the evolution of from Windows 95 to XP to what we see today. Similar evolution is happening, and then maybe at some point we may not even need to. Not some point that I should have added that, but at least let me say this: we are not far away, where instead of typing you are speaking and it's taking action on your behalf. Now we are not seeing that much in the practice because the speaking component requires real-time feedback, and to do that real-time feedback you need to have a low latency inference solutions. When I say inference solutions, that 100 words per second what we see in the chat GPT, it has to be higher than that. And again, going back to pitching my own company, I mean, not my own, but the company I work for, because of this high biggest chip, we are able to deliver that. We are able to do it in 200 millisecond or less. And we have started seeing some of the companies developing voice-based solutions where it's voice activated complete. Even ChatGPT has an advanced voice mode, but it's far costlier to implement in a real life compared to how you do it in an open source model. But yes, that is another thing, evolution coming up, not just typing, but also the voice. Cool. Let
Thank
me
you.
go through chat
So,
if I can.
yeah, so Nitin, there are a couple of questions in the chat group.
Yeah, let's take a look. Kunal has asked, thanks, Ritesh. In your experience, what would be the average cost of building a basic AI agent? What are the current off-the-shelf AI agents currently available in the market?
So to
Mhm.
run this, right, what I just did to create this polished job description per se, right, assuming that software cost we are not counting here, only the runtime cost, it would have cost us less than 5 cents to do this. So runtime cost is way cheap. And software, have I written this software? No. But yes, I have spent a lot of nights and weekend working with AI to create that software, right? So AI is creating that software on my behalf as I'm asking it to do it, and I'm integrating, I'm testing it. So it's a time and energy. If you ask me, then the cost. And if your time is valuable, which it is, everyone's time is, you add up that cost. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. Hi, Ritesh. So you, it's Kunal. So you talked
Hey,
about the
Kunal.
runtime cost, right? So
Hmm?
now I understand that 5 cents and all in runtime would probably be lesser, but initially when you're building out that agent, like you said,
Yeah,
you didn't code it, but then how did it get created? Did you was it something that a functionality that you leveraged from another software to build that up?
correct.
Or
Yes,
okay,
yes. So there are frameworks
yes.
out there, right? So there are a
Okay.
few things. One is definitely this is done on Python from a software point
Mm,
of view, stack point of view. And there is
good.
also another higher level framework called Crew AI. I mean, Crew AI is a small company, a startup again, and they have built some of that agentic flow. So I'm leveraging their library to, and again, it's an open source. Thanks to the open source, I'm
Mhm.
leveraging that library, integrating it with ChatGPT, but also integrating with Google search, right? Because I'm doing that search on the internet, and as a part of that, I'm integrating that Google API or whatever somebody is providing that Google API to me. I'll take that and sort of stitching things together to the liking of my own way, right? Because I may not like few things done differently, and this is how. So it's a time plus framework plus the runtime cost.
Got it. Okay.
Now, how many developer? Uno.
You be
Just
saying
one,
one person.
thank you.
Yeah. Just me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And I'm not a developer by trade. Okay. I mean, yes, I have computer science degree and I've done development for
Yeah.
for many years, but I'm not a hardcore coder.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Ritesh.
Hmm?
Thank you.
All right, we've also got John Gross who put something in the chat. Uh, are the
Okay.
agents created in a particular coding language like Python? I think you answered that. And can they be adapted or extended or customized easily by someone with coding experience?
So yes, there are agents like, for example, if you look at Salesforce, Salesforce has created what they call the sales agent, right? As a part of that sales agent, they allow you to change things however you want. And coming back to your question on the code, this is the code. It's open source. I'm gonna share this. You can use this code as is and work through this. But this is the initial code I had created 6 months ago. Then I reiterated and reiterated. But this is the one you can use it for job description. I'm creating one for resume creation because a couple of friends who lost recently the job, they're like, okay, I want to recreate my resume based on whatever the job is being asked. And I'm working on the resume creation aspect of similar agent. So you simply add the job description, you add your resume or attach your resume, and it will sort of tweak your resume to match your job description. Is it ethical? I'll let you decide. The other question was without coding experience would be like people are creating it. Like, as I said, Salesforce is creating the same thing I heard from Atlassian. Atlassian is creating for their PM tools as well. How far will they go? I don't know. Because if they create that agent, which is going to cannibalize their own revenue, because they operate per seat and whatnot. So I don't want to go into the business model of that. Hope that answers, John, your question.
Yeah, and John, feel free to unmute yourself as well if you had a follow-up or comment. Feel free.
Yeah, Jay has a question. Jay, I don't know if you want to turn on your microphone, turn on your camera. You can ask your question. You posted something in chat.
Yes, my question is I love the phrase AI empowered project manager versus AI replaces project manager. So I like that leveraging of working together to create a better product. But just wondering if there's any recommendations on that concept, taking it a little bit further to AI empowered project manager or AI empowered Scrum master. Any recommendations out there of what to research?
So one selfish, yeah, it is a selfish. I'm gonna suggest you go through this. Sorry, I'm promoting myself. Self-promotion is
That's
not
fine.
allowed. I suggest you go through this. Again, I don't go into the agents of this course, in this course particularly. And there is another course coming up only on the agents in the Coursera side of the house. But this is more of how you as a project manager, as a Scrum Master, could leverage Gen AI for your day-to-day work. And again, it may not be exactly what I just talked about, but at least it will meet 40 to 50% of what I talked about.
Okay, looks very practical and valuable, and it's 2 hours to complete. So that's very good. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, there's also a question from whoever Home is. I don't know if you want to ask your question, Home. Introduce yourself also. If you can, turn on your camera. Whoever
Yeah, I
Home
see the
is.
question. Are this agent you mentioned currently available? No, this is so one available today is this, right? What we just created. I mean, there are many companies out there who are building onto the agentic flow. And as a result of that, there are few open source, few closed source. Like Crew AI is an open source. LangChain and their own version of agent flow called LangGraph. They are open source. Is it available for a particular function? Yes. Like sales function, agent is being created. HR function, there are agent is being created. Would it be available for a program management function? Time will tell. But it's more of a futuristic that this is how I see this. If I'm building one for program management, for project management, this is how I would be building it. Based on what my experience is, based on what I have built for some of the other functionality like the job description, what we just saw, and that is how the flow should work. So that is what it is. It is not everything is available today. Will it be available soon? Yes. I mean, I would say next quarter, some of this functionality you will see it in many functions. If nobody's creating it, I'm gonna create one because it's it's again, I'm saying it lightly, but it's easy. And if no major companies are creating it, then I have a market opportunity.
I see that Pamela Sprott made a comment, not a question, but an often concern by many project managers. And Pamela wrote here that I fear we will all lose our jobs soon. You want to try to give your take on AI and how it's going to affect the project management profession?
Yeah, I mean, again, not just there is a saying, and again, I might be rephrasing it, but question is, will AI take my job? No, but person who knows AI is high likely to be taking over your job if you don't adapt. So that is what I'll say here as well. At least in near future, and I'm saying near future, maybe another 5 to 10 years, AI is not going to take our job, but the person who knows AI better than you is going to take that job. And I would start, if you are not already aware of how to use AI, start with ChatGPT, start with Claude. Those are the two heavy hitter when it comes to the AI tools. And prompt engineering or prompt management, how to create prompts, how to work with prompts are the biggest thing going to help you in your career as a project manager, as a program manager. So if you don't know how to prompt, not simply asking a question, but create a prompt, not one, two words or one liner, but maybe 5 liner, maybe 10 liner, maybe go with a template, go further and learn more about how to create those prompts. Go learn about how to create a chain of thought. Go learn about how to create a few shot to a multiple shot prompt, how to apply or think like a role, apply a role when you are doing a prompting to this AI models. That is going to take you maybe 50% farther than what a typical project manager may be doing, right? So that is one way to stay ahead, and changes the nature of uh, change is always constant, right? So I say get on board if you are not already on board.
I think this will be a good time for me to just add, if you have not started your AI journey yet, that as a PMI member, that there are 3 free AI courses, one about just overall on AI, the other one about data in AI, and then the newest course is about prompt engineering. And again, these are all free for you as PMI members on PMI's website. Additionally, PMI has its own, GPT. It has PMI Infinity. That's the name I'm looking for. That you can ask it questions about project management, and all of PMI's intellectual material has been loaded into that. So I would, just as Ritesh said, go and explore.
And
Okay.
if you need any help, any hint, I mean, I have created multiple courses on those, and happy to give away few free codes on those prompt engineering. It's on Udemy as well. It's on my own platform as well. So again, happy to do. Just reach out to me, and I'll make sure that you learn it.
Yeah. So anyway, we reached time. I just thank you very much, Ritesh, for your presentation. Thank you very much, Nitin, for facilitating the discussion and the Q&A.